So yesterday I was listening to an interview with Eddie George on the Club Shay Shay podcast. The intelligence, the willingness to learn about HBCUs, the understanding, and he mentioned he wanted to listen first before reacting to anything. This is maturity. This is leadership. And yes, Tennessee State did not win last year. I get all that. But they're headed in the right direction. Tennessee State was dealing with injuries, especially with the quarterback position. And that's why in their recruiting class, they recruited multiple quarterbacks just in case someone is injured for the year. But I really believe Eddie George was the right hire, and I'll chime in. What's good, everyone? This is RawTruth Media, giving you the raw content that you deservedly need. Please like and share this video throughout all social media platforms. Also, I want to appreciate everyone that tunes into RawTruth Media. I try every day to put out a video, but the support has always been there. Thank you so much. But on this topic, Eddie George, I want you guys to listen to what he has to say about his experience that he's gained coaching at an HBCU, the way you have to approach handling business and find the solutions. And that's all HBCU fans ask for these new former NFL players turned coaches. Eddie George is leading men the right way. And this is the reason why I want Tennessee State to win their conference, to have a successful season. Because when you see goodness in people, you always want them to have the best success. And so far, what I've seen from Eddie George, he wants Tennessee State to have everything they need. And this is what he had to say on Club Shay Shay.
Has it been more difficult than you had previously?
Stop right there. Hasn't been. Yes. But anything worthwhile is uphill.
Right.
What you do is uphill.
Right.
I've seen the battles that you going through.
Yes.
Upstairs and on the court, all that. I mean, all that comes with it.
Right.
But it gives me the tenacity that I have to see it succeed. The vision that I have for this program outweighs all of that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there are days when I'm driving home like, man, you know what? Maybe this wasn't a good idea.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Things don't move as fast as we would like at HBCUs. There are antiquated policies and operations that you got to work through. It's an old way of thinking. So you've got to, I choose to approach it completely different than blasting it out there. I like to influence people to get ultimately would move us in the right direction.
Correct.
That's progress.
Okay.
That's to move it to an elite status. So that's kind of the approach that I've taken.
When you look at it, obviously when a coach comes in, there's a lot of players that's already implemented, and they say, well, I'm going to need like 2 to 3 years to get the players that I want, that I need, that understand my ideology. Yes, I'm going to work with some of the current players, obviously knowing that I'm going to run some of them jokers off.
Yeah.
But give me a little while to get the players that I want. Now you're heading into your third year. Mm-hmm. Have you turned that corner yet? Are you starting to get some of the players that you want that can implement your system?
Absolutely. I mean, you get kids that fall off because of graduation. Some kids are not going to make it because they're ineligible. Some kids can't pass the drug test.
Right.
Some kids don't want that structured environment.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? There's some non-negotiables that I'm just not going to waver on.
Right.
You played the game at a very high level.
Yeah.
You're very disciplined. You've been under some great coaches throughout your entire, you know what that looks like.
Yes.
For inside and out. And so do I. So I'm not going to change or compromise how I was raised in this game because I'm cut from a different cloth.
Right.
But I'm also going to have an ear of understanding and listen to these kids.
Right.
But some of it has got to go. So To your point, yes, we came in, had to implement a strength and conditioning program, number one, better nutrition. We seen some bodies change, but the mindset didn't change.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bodies change, but the mindset,
Yeah.
we still have to work on that. So I'm getting in those kids, whether it be from JUCO or from the portal in high school, to come in, and I have to mold them into what I want them to be.
Right.
Yeah.
I read where you talked to Coach Tomlin about how the best way about to go about this job. What was some of the advice that Coach Tomlin gave you?
He said that, first of all, be yourself.
Okay.
Don't try to emulate, somebody else like the Belichick's or Saban. They're very successful men. Be who you are. Come from your strengths. And my strengths right now, I'm not going to draw up ISO.
Right.
I'm there to inspire. I'm there to bring in resources.
Right.
I'm coming from that perspective. And that I could, absolutely be the CEO of the football team.
Right.
That's what I am right now. I'm there to bring in the right people, the right resources. I know what a good run play looks like.
Right.
I know what kind of defense I want to install. I know the mentality that I want to have. And I delegate that, the X's and O's, to my offensive coordinator and my defensive coordinator, my special teams coach. And I let them do their thing.
Right.
And the moment that I see issues within that they're not doing their job, that will be addressed.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
The most important thing to me, the biggest hire that I made, Shannon, was having a chief of staff.
Okay.
Someone that came from the world of academics and academia and building a program already.
Right.
A young man that went to Georgia State, helped build that program up. And he came along board. He was out at New Mexico, so he understood the language, the pitfalls, everything. He was my guiding light.
Okay.
And he was the buffer between myself and some of the administration. So it was never any friction there. So that was very important for me to have on my staff. So to answer your question, we are turning the corner in the right direction, and I think we're, hopefully we can have our first winning season.
Are resources the biggest hurdle that you feel you've got to overcome, or HBCUs need to overcome?
It's that, you know what, brother, it is so much deeper.
More than that.
It's very deep because it's systemic.
Okay.
It comes down to
something that's been in place for 50, 75, 100 years, and you're trying to change it, and you're not going to be able to change it.
A football coach is not going to be able to change it. This goes into politics, all right? Tennessee State just got awarded $250 million of land grant money that was owed to them over the last 5 decades.
Wow.
Should have been $500 million.
Right.
So they just get the money, but here's the catch. It has to go, they said it has to go toward existing buildings. The $250 million, buildings that must be demolished. No, that shouldn't happen. We should be able to dictate where
the money goes. How you gonna tell me? That's like Fox. Oh, Shannon, we gonna pay you a salary, but we gonna tell you need to spend it on clothes. You need to spend it on
Who does that? They don't tell it at the University of Tennessee.
No.
In the other school.
Right.
But why Tennessee State? See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So why can't they say, hey, here's our money.
Here's the money.
A third can go into an endowment. A third can go to an annual fund. Another third can go to a new facility.
Right.
But no, that's the problem to me because it doesn't allow.
They still try to control,
exactly,
even from a distance.
Even from a distance. So that's the stuff that I'm seeing, and which stops us from truly growing and truly being elite.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And on the flip side of that, we've got to take those funds and manage it appropriately, be good stewards of that money, and have systems that are transparent to show, hey, it went to X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Here is the return on your investment.
Right.
Whatever capacity that is.
I hear critics says celebrity head coaches because they look at you, Coach Prime, as former NFL players. Eddie Robb, you played with Eddie Robb at Alabama State. And they say, well, the problem is that they don't understand the inner workings of an HBCU. They went to Power Fives. There are these big names. And so they don't really understand what it's like to be at an HBCU. And you say, but I do, because I've had so many family members, and I do understand. I understand it's going to take a long time, but I'm willing to roll up my sleeves and get dirty and help steer this thing in the right direction.
Right. I don't understand it. I don't. And that's why I choose not to go in making declarations on what needs to be done.
Right.
So I can understand, to listen.
Okay.
And then come up with a compromise of how we move this in the right direction.
Right.
You know, what are those issues? How have things been done before?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I choose to listen and then to be understood.
Right.
In that regard. So yes, things are different at HBCUs. The value system is different.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about the experience is different from a Power 5 institution.
Right.
Let's just be real with it. Some things are great, but some things need to be updated.
Right.
And polished off and moved in the right direction. Because that's Tennessee State has their own issues.
Right.
But then there are other HBCUs that are doing things right.
Right.
You look at FAMU's facilities.
Yes.
They're great.
Prairie View has great
the
facilities.
best in FCS.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
You look at their weight room, you look at their locker room, their facilities are top notch. Alabama State, same thing. So there are some HBCUs that are they're doing things right. So each institution is
have
different
a different set of issues.
A different set of these issues, correctly.
Right. When you heard